When do you want to shoot that? Tomorrow or Tuesday?
Okay.
Shit.
All right, we're gonna be clever.
All right.
We're gonna do the clever stuff. I see us. And we're
Are we live?
yeah. Here we go.
Oh, okay, we're going. All right, wonderful.
All right. Hey, at least some of us out there. So here we are. We're trying out live, as you can tell, for the first time. So
Yeah.
we got Nate here, of course, and our friend Aaron from Ally Productions, our new partner. And so we want to just, give you guys a live video, and we wanted to do a little film discussion this time around.
Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about what we believe, our personal belief of what is the most underrated movie. What are these movies that people even haven't heard of or have heard of and seen, and just they don't get the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
So, we recommend that all three of these movies that you do go out and check them out. So, but Cece, let's start with yours. Yours is a documentary that I'm sure some people might have heard of, but not a lot. So why don't you talk about your pick for the most underrated movie?
Yeah, and I chose this because I do love documentaries. I watch a ton of documentaries, and this happens.
Charismatic.
Opinionated.
I'd have to point out he was short.
But he was a giant of a man.
Really a good storyteller.
He was completely selfless.
Animated.
Kind.
Jubilant.
Caring.
Devilish.
Laid back.
Very approachable.
Can I say things that are not like completely flattering and wonderful?
He had the capacity to have the worst possible gas.
He'd be proud of that, yep.
He wasn't a saint. He was a hell of a guy.
He was just so.
That film where it didn't at least get a little dusty in the room.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I've never seen this movie, so I need to watch it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. A great filmmaking experience. Like, I think this is like the quintessential documentary as far as what documentaries can do and the purpose of them, and just, yes, it is personable to Zachary. This was made for him, but anybody can relate watching this movie, especially just the things it hits on friendship and just like leaving this legacy. And for some people who don't know these family members, this is a great way to show them who they were, and just especially someone as important to your life as your father.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with you. Like, this is a tough watch. You're like, if you make it through it with a dry eye, just you book your place in hell. you don't have a soul. I'm sorry. It's just that I just think it's that effectively. Yeah, it is that effectively sad, but it's beautiful too. It's not like you're crying because you're depressed, but there's just these really poignant moments between the filmmaker and he really relays his love for his friend.
Yeah, and then
What was left of your dad. It might be the only way you could one day go back in time, see and get to know him.
This is a time machine. Yes, a time machine.
And I vowed to collect every memory for you before they were gone. So finally, I set off. First, I would go to England to interview your grandma's side of the family for you. Then I'd return to the U.S. to do an epic road trip across North America.
them to that next generation in the midst of this just total chaos that's happening. It's It's something that you should watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
you guys
so-
want to talk about it.
If you want to do a review after we watch it,
that's actually not a bad
like,
idea.
I'm all for
maybe
that.
we will review that one. So.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And Nate, now on to your pick.
Oh, you
this
wanna go
is
mine? Which
this
we-
is one that I just recently saw for the
Yeah.
first time, and Aaron is yet to see. So.
Yep, and we actually reviewed this one as well in our Halloween series this year too. So, and that is The Descent. So I think that this is a very underrated horror movie. I don't think a lot of people have seen it. It sort of flew under the radar a little bit. It's become a little bit more of a cult classic. But essentially, the plot of this movie is six or seven friends go cave diving together as just a little adventure. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about this movie, because I don't want to give anything away from this movie. When I first saw this, I went to the theater alone, having no idea what this was about or what to expect whatsoever. And I left that theater like super happy with what I saw, but also just completely terrified. I think this is one of the scarier movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I think that an effective horror movie, I just saw this when we did the Halloween review last year for the very first time, and I very much enjoyed this movie. It was one that, when I saw the trailers for it, I'm like, that looks like nightmare fuel. I think I'm going to skip that one, and that's the reason why I avoided it. And this movie is very much nightmare fuel. Like, and I watched it at home.
Yeah.
I can or watch that at your place, Nate.
Yeah.
I can only imagine in a theater,
Right.
just like, completely enveloped in the movie, how much more scary it is, how effective it is. But I think what separates a good horror movie from a great horror movie are the themes that they.
Dead animals. Hundreds of them.
This is not good, guys.
Can we get out of here? Which way?
I don't know. What do you mean you don't know?
There's no breeze. It could be any one of these tunnels. Take your pick.
Oh, fuck it.
Hello! Please.
Is there anybody there? Hello?
That happened with this movie. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of different elements that are very scary about this movie. But for me, the claustrophobia, it's just, I'm in my chair just squirming. I can't stand it. It's insane how small these little spaces are. And I know you were squirming a little bit too.
Yeah. There is definitely one moment that is not for the faint of heart if you have claustrophobia, because you're just sitting there like, if you're in the living room, you're in your safe place, but you're like breathing, like trying to come on, get out of there. And it's just effective filmmaking. Like,
It is.
much like how I felt about watching Dunkirk, where it's like you're seeing people drowning and you're short of breath, like that kind of experience where it's conveyed so well. And I think that this is one of those movies that just kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
I mean, we hadn't really seen, that wasn't a thriving time for horror when this movie came out. So it's just, it's just kind of got checked, left in the pile with everything else.
Yeah, and I think even from a filmmaker standpoint, the setting is mostly pitch black. So you're looking through headlamps, you're looking through like glow sticks or flashlights.
The use of light is
really
something
really
you'll
effective.
appreciate as
Yeah, because
photographer.
this is a difficult feat to do, to have something be pitch black with only flashlights and make it, actually feel like you know where you are and what's going on.
You can comprehend what's going on.
Exactly.
They could have easily made it shaky and jump cutty and everything like that.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
No, it's very comprehensible. So no, that's my recommendation. Definitely see that, especially if you're a horror fan. It's a must see, and of course I'll let you borrow it and you can see it as well.
Yeah, Alicia won't watch that. I'll tell you that right now.
No, yeah, I think a lot of people won't watch that one because it's scary stuff. But Dennis, give us yours.
My pick is actually the only one that all three of us have seen. I think we can all agree that this is a great movie that kind of goes overlooked, especially when it comes to this director's filmography. And my choice is The Game, directed by David Fincher and starring Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And I just think that's like it's lost in a sea of greatness of Fincher. Like
It is.
before this, we had Seven, and this was before Fight Club.
But what does that matter to a bloated millionaire fat cat like you? In other financial news, stock markets rose both domestically and abroad today.
Like you're watching a kind of paranoia-induced fear movie that Stanley Kubrick could have easily have made.
Yeah, and I think
touching on the same themes and.
Yeah, I mean, from a storytelling aspect too, this movie is just so well crafted. Of just the mystery shrouded around this whole thing. It's like eerie, not scary, just like, I don't know, the whole movie is just really well crafted, and I think you're right, it's completely overlooked for some reason. I mean,
well, I think part of what may go into that is sort of where it existed in time. That anything like that now, do you know how much it would involve like surveillance video and social media and all of the rest of that?
Yeah,
whereas the narrative of the game, that sort of all takes place where everyone knows about it, but no one's communicating on their phones. You know,
Right.
it's a weird sort of artifact from that last end of that analog era.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to see them try and tackle something like that using like how society is now.
Right, and it's kind of like a time capsule.
Yeah,
you know, it's very much like, you know, you're talking. What if Home Alone was made to? There's just so many outlets, and
right.
that's the same thing. Like, this would never work. The game would never work with modern day technology.
I don't know if it wouldn't work. I just think that it would be a completely different movie.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, this was the late 90s, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the movie, it tells the story of Michael Douglas. He's this banker. He's this very successful man, and his brother gives him a birthday gift, and it's a game of things where it's like kind of life and death, cat and mouse, and to the point where you don't know if it's a game. His life could very well be in danger. It could all be a prank, and, you know, it all comes full circle at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just one of the, like, as far as like twist endings, there are twist endings you can see coming. And it's like, all right, you know, I kind of saw it coming. It didn't really have effect. With the twist ending of this, it doesn't blindside you. You can see it coming, but it's still effective.
Yeah.
And it still works, and it makes the movie better, because this is one of those movies where like they have the alternate ending where it's the opposite of the end. I'm not going to spoil what's going on with the movie, but where it's the opposite ending, and it's just not as effective. It's a bummer. It might be more realistic, but it's a
It
bummer.
doesn't give you that closure that you
Exactly.
Write this number down. It's a 24-hour consumer recreation services hotline for emergencies only. But don't call asking what the object of the game is, figuring that.
Fincher gem that just like when people talk about David Fincher, why doesn't this one get brought up? Because other movies are great too. And
Yeah. Where did Alien 3 fit in there? Oh, Alien 3 was his first.
his first.
Yeah,
So
that
it
was
was
his first.
Alien 3, 7, the game, and then Fight
It's funny
Club.
when you go from 7, the game, and Fight Club. Like, I never associate David Fincher with twist endings, but all three of those,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he never pigeonholed himself into a twist ending type of filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know, his movies are just that good that they don't really need the twist. It helps, but I don't remember Fincher films for the twists, like M. Night Shyamalan or something like that. I just remember them because they're great.
Well, Fincher doesn't write his own work. He adapts books and he gets, you
Yeah.
know, spec scripts and everything like that. I mean, I'm sure he goes through the screenplay
Yeah,
and,
he
you know,
does his
makes
thing.
adjustments there. But like, he's not a story creator. He's
Mhm.
very, you know, visual filmmaker.
Yeah.
So I think that lends itself to he can make the same kind of movie with same twist endings, but he doesn't get pigeonholed into it because he's not, you know, the writer. He's not that kind of storyteller.
Sure.
He's the visual storyteller. So
Yeah.
it is weird though that he never like went Shyamalan with it. Where it's,
Right.
it's a requirement
Yeah.
now. All my movies have twists, so let's just squeeze one in there. at the
I
end.
never even made the connection that there has been so many twists in his films
Yeah.
because there's been quite a few, even
Yeah.
with Gone Girl and things like that. You know, but you're right, not his material.
So, where would you guys personally put the game in like David Fincher's filmography, like his best movies? Where would you rank it? I would probably say it's his fifth best. I would put Social Network
first.
Yes.
Okay.
Social Network.
I haven't seen Social Network, so I.
Okay.
Oh, it's good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Social Network, Fight Club, Seven, Zodiac, the game. That's what I would put.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know you're not a huge fan of Benjamin Button. No?
I could easily pick that for my overrated. To be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
I guess.
But
see
name,
that.
you know, we're all
Yeah,
big Fincher
I would
fans.
say
Where
with
would
the
you put it?
game, I mean, for me, it would probably go Fight Club, Seven, Social Network, Gone Girl,
Over Zodiac?
Zodiac. Then I think it would be my sixth.
Okay.
The thing with Fincher's, there's not really a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's like Wes Anderson.
Besides
you know,
Alien 3.
Alien 3 is not No, yeah, besides Alien 3.
but that's about as much of his movie as it is one of ours.
Exactly.
After you
That
find
was
out
not his fault.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's not his fault. But what about you?
I would go Zodiac, then Gone Girl, then The Game, then Fight Club.
Oh, wow.
Would be where I would be at.
You put The Game above Fight Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, and I could go back and forth on that. Like,
Sure.
I would put Zodiac at a strong number one. I could debate all the other ones, but
Yeah.
that's my favorite of his for sure.
Yeah, I love Zodiac. I think it's great. I don't think it's as quickly paced as some of
Oh,
those other
God,
ones.
no. I
Like,
mean,
that's one of the little faults that I have with Zodiac, is it can run a little slow at times.
Yeah, I
That's it.
agree with that. But I think that is, there's movies where you don't get closure. You don't get like a nice tight little package.
Yeah.
And Zodiac's definitely one of those movies. But at no point when you don't get that nice tight little package did you walk out of theater like feeling robbed.
Right.
Because it wasn't the movie itself wasn't about finding out who Zodiac was. It was examining that this impact that a person who is doing this is having on a cartoonist, on a reporter, on the detective on the case. That movie was more about the journey than the actual destination.
And if you compare that with another film that tried to do the same thing with the same type of subject matter, Summer of Sam.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you execute it well, and then can you fall on your face doing the same type of project?
Exactly.
It's
two movies that tried to accomplish the same thing, going in different directions. I know we're kind of talking a lot.
Now we're
about
kind of
Zodiac.
I want to keep talking about Zodiac. I love that movie. Like I watched the behind the scenes of that film, and like even the special effects they use is so seamless. What Fincher can do with that, like there's green screen work, like when they're just in the middle of the street and you don't even tell. Like when they're just in the neighborhood doing detective work, that's all green screen, and it makes no sense how they made it look so seamless to me.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we could gush over Zodiac for days and days.
Yeah, getting back on track.
Just to recap, for our most underrated films, Aaron's going with Dear Zachary for documentary filmmaking and just a real human story. It's one you got to check out. I'm sure Nate's going to go after it after we shoot this, and
Definitely.
then The Descent. Yeah, make sure you sling that DVD his way because that is a great horror film.
Scare yourself silly with that.
Yeah, make sure you watch it with the lights off, all that.
Yeah.
And The Game, just one of those. It's just like it's Fincher.
It's just a great Fincher movie.
It's a low grade Fincher movie, so it's a great movie in general.
And can I say too that even just with it being on film and the way that it was shot, it's that like late 90s, ultra saturated, ultra clear, just glorious looking film.
Yeah, it is a beautiful film.
Yes.
You're not upset watching the game.
No. And once again, it's just kind of lost in a sea of greatness from David Fincher and just filmmakers in general. I mean, the late 90s, we could finger through like 96 to 99, pick out probably 80 great movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you guys for joining us live on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to not only us at Cinema Bus, but Ally Productions. We've got a lot of great content coming out on that channel too. So want to thank Aaron for joining us on this one, and we'll bring you guys more live videos and more film discussions in the future. So thanks for joining us, but don't forget,
there's no place like the theater.